that you had your own bipolar episode, and you responded to that by deciding to attempt to heal yourself and to dive deeply into understanding what it was about. Now, I think that's very impressive because I haven't had a bipolar episode, but as I understand it, it can be a very unsettling experience. And the way you're then treated when you're hospitalized and medicated and everything, as you say in the book, can be a trauma in and of itself. So I could imagine something coming out of that feeling really on the back foot, really weak. But
Yeah, it could be a traumatizing experience.
yeah,
But
but
just to clarify,
go on, sorry.
yeah, just to clarify for people though that, um, and maybe I give a little bit of the story, was that I was at a self-help seminar and we had a meditation on our fears. And in that meditation, I saw a depth gauge from a scuba diving accident I had had a couple of months earlier, where I had lost my weight belt 30 meters under the sea. And I was wondering if I was actually going to die before I hit the surface. And so the trauma of that moment surfaced, and then all my senses sharpened, and I had a feeling of all knowingness and just a sense of connectivity. And then all of that, after about 5 days, made me realize that I had died. And so I went into this kind of space where I thought I was dead. And I took all my clothes off in a hotel ballroom, and eventually the police came for me. And I still thought I was going to heaven, So when I was taken to the psychiatric hospital, I was, by today's terms, you'd say completely delusional, right? Um, but 48 hours later, I started to get a little bit more grounded and realized that it did look like my dimension was changing much. And I told them I had PTSD. But for me, it was always a spiritual experience. And this is what I wanted to correct, was that I never interpreted myself as having any bipolar disorder or anything. I saw what I had as a spiritual experience. It was very good for me. My salary tripled over the next 3 years. And it was a year after the experience that I found the work of Dr. Stan Groff. And he had this term spiritual emergency, where you can have something that looks like acute psychosis, but can actually be beneficial. And so from there, I had framed my experience as, well, this is what I had. I had a spiritual emergency. I didn't have a mental illness per se, and then that changed my life all around. And I met my wife, who's Brazilian, and we moved to Brazil, and I became an English teacher. I got out of advertising. And so that crisis really catapulted me into a different reality.
Great. Okay, so you were not traumatized by what happened after you'd taken all your clothes off and the police had come. You actually had an amazing experience.
Well, there might have been a little trauma there, but the bigger part was very beneficial. It's
Great.
a very
Well,
beneficial thing
I
for me.
I celebrate that because I think there must be people as well who have equivalent awakening experiences and are really traumatized by it. In fact, in the book, you mention a number of people who were having to deal with the trauma of the response by others to their awakening.
Sure, we deal with